Enlightened in the hot and dry desert, there are actually fish living here. This lone warrior crawling in the sand is called the Desert Gar. He not only has a strong drought tolerance, he also has strong limbs. This can help him in the desert walk around recklessly. Someone might ask now, how did this thing get to the desert? This is the Brazilian Thousand Lakes Desert, a very unserious desert. As we all know, most deserts are hot and dry all year round. There is very little rain. However, the Brazilian Thousand Lakes Desert is completely the opposite. The annual rainfall here can be over 1,000 millimeters. It's dozens of times that of the Sahara Desert. A lot of rain accumulates in the desert, forming many lakes of different sizes. That's how the Thousand Lakes Desert got its name. Some lakes even connect to the Atlantic Ocean. At this time, many fish will accidentally swim here, including the gar at the beginning. However, due to the geographical location of the Thousand Lakes Desert, very close to the equator, so whenever the dry season comes, under the onslaught of intense sunlight and heat waves, the lake water quickly dries up and disappears. This will turn back into a barren sand dune. Other fish will all escape the fate of becoming good fishing rods. But the gar's skin is very thick. Even out of the water, it won't die immediately. At the same time, relying on strong limbs, he can be brave and crazy in the desert, heading towards the direction of swimming. If you're lucky, he might be able to survive. Since there are fish in the desert, then the appearance of fishermen seems more reasonable. But finding fish is not an easy task. Luckily, just follow the footprints left by the gar all the way. They can find water sources. Soon the gar successfully found her. A dry lake. He excitedly dove into the water he had always dreamed of. Soon after, two fishermen arrived at the scene. They quickly cast a net down. Lucky enough, caught a lot of lost and unlucky guys. This kind of arrogant guy is called a killifish. They spend most of their time living in mud. The way these killifish live is very peculiar. They can not only crawl and breathe on land, even their 3 meals a day, all solved here. The way killifish eat is also bizarre. You can see that he first presses his mouth close to the ground, then he sucked in big mouthfuls. Maybe that's what eating dirt is. But actually, killifish eat the microorganisms in the soil. After eating, he will also burp. Then, he began the most important work of the day. That is courtship. To attract the attention of the opposite sex, male, killifish usually choose to jump high from the ground. So killifish is also called jumping fish. But this behavior not only attracts the opposite sex, it may also attract the attention of invaders. A male killifish has his eyes on his territory. A fight between them is inevitable. But before the winner is decided, the battle was forced to stop. Because if they fight any longer, they'll turn into dried fish. By rolling in the mud, can effectively reduce body temperature. But for some smaller killifish, Staying away from the ground is the best way to go. To ensure their own safety, he needs to dig a tunnel in the mud as a nest. Hole! And the mud dug out needs to be held in the mouth and carried out. Spit it out like spitting around the entrance of the hole. The more mud blocks are piled up, means the tunnel is dug deeper. After digging the tunnel, he also needs to constantly maintain it, because every high tide will flood the tunnel. He needs to constantly clean the garbage in the nest. Besides being able to avoid the sun's rays, killifish's tunnel, there is another important role. There is a secret chamber at the end of the tunnel. Secret chamber. The walls are covered with countless fish eggs. However, the oxygen here is very scarce. This is a big obstacle to the hatching of fish eggs. So the killifish will swim to the entrance and swallow a mouthful of fresh air. Then, he will take this mouthful of air back to the secret chamber and spit it out. This can make up for the lack of oxygen in the secret chamber. This action will be repeated hundreds of times until his fish eggs all hatched before it ends.